So if you ever find yourself in Paris with no money and no place to live, that's always a good option. Guess what we're talking about tomorrow?
Tomorrow?
No, today. Guess what we're talking about today?
Are we talking about microgreens?
Microgreens? I don't think you really even know what microgreens are. And I'm not sure that I do either. But it may be something we do in the future. No. We're talking about...
Greens?
Ooh, yeah. Learning stuff.
Risky.
Trains. Tell me what you know about trains.
Trains use fuel for them to move. They use things like coal or like steam
Ooh.
for the train to go.
Well, they did originally. Trains long time ago.
Yeah.
Here's a question. What's good about a train as opposed to using a truck to get stuff places?
Well, trains are big. Some trains use these big boxes that are made out of metal. And they're really hard to transport when it was like 15 years long ago that we didn't have any trains. That would be really hard to move. But with trains, we can move big things.
Big things.
Like big metal box for transporting stuff.
Yeah, trucks can move the big metal box too. But why don't a bunch of trucks just like go down the road like that?
Well, if you have a big metal box, well, they only carry one.
Mm-hmm.
And if they carry a lot of them will fall over and almost break the lower truck.
Uh-huh.
So that will be bad. But for the train, you can just pack anything at once.
Mm-hmm.
And the train can go very long.
Okay, the train can go very long. There's also something special about the train, that the train goes on what? These things.
Oh, the railroad.
The rails. Now, there's something special about rails. And you know the crazy thing is, the rails came before the train. Did you know that? Yeah, because there's something special about rail. And in fact, the rails are the more important thing than the train. What's special about rails? Why rails and not road?
Well, if the train did not have any railroads, the train will not go anywhere.
No, it needs to go on the rails.
Because it has wheels, but not like normal wheels like tires. They are metal wheels. So, if they go on roads, they will not move. But if they're carrying a heavy object and they're going down a hill, then that will necessarily go down really fast.
Seriously?
Well,
Serially? I don't know. Okay, when we're talking about the rails, the big thing about rails is the idea of friction. Do you remember what friction is?
Friction.
Yeah, things rubbing against each other. Okay, so going on the rails, once the train is moving, it has momentum. Okay, and that makes it much easier and cheaper to move things. And there's much less friction between the metal wheels and the rails as compared to a vehicle going on the road. So, with a train, you get a real smooth and easy ride.
Real smooth. And the railroads, and when the train stops, it makes a sparks.
Well, it could, but the train doesn't like to stop. The train likes to slow down. The train doesn't like to come to a quick stop. I mean, that's something that a truck can do. It can come to a quicker stop. But the thing is, the train uses momentum. Okay, it keeps on rolling. Once it starts rolling, it just rolls and rolls and rolls. And that's why it's cheaper and easier to transport with a railroad as opposed to a road. Do you think you would want to ride on a train sometime? Why? Well, you don't like trains?
I do not like trains because I know that when you are on a big, like a bridge with rail racks, and the rail racks are broken, and well, you will fall off and die. So that's why I don't like
Yeah.
trains.
You wouldn't want that to happen, eh? Hopefully, human beings are going to start, moving to other planets at some point. What do you think about trains on the moon?
Train on the moon!
Could we have a train on the moon or on Mars?
On the moon with a train, it will just float away.
Ah!
And there's no oxygen, so you can survive.
Trains don't need oxygen. But float away is a very interesting proposal you make there. Now, the thing is, there is a force, the force of gravity and the weight of the train that keeps it on the tracks. Right? On the moon, the gravity is less. And on other planets, like Mars, maybe the gravity is less. But there's still gravity. And there's still the weight of the object. So they won't necessarily float away. What did you do, Anne? You're late for the train.
You just, maybe you'll just jump on that back, and then,
You go running after it.
yeah. No, you just run to the train.
Yeah, you can't do that. No. I mean, maybe in some places you can do that. But here, if you take a train, you can't do that. It's just something in cartoons you can do.